Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
We're taking a look at what very well may be the single greatest release from Gen Con 2017, Mountains of Madness.
It's at least the best thing we brought home from Gen Con.
Yeah, I mean we didn't bring home Twilight Imperium 4 or like a baby or Now, if you haven't played Mountains of Madness, it is a co-op game wherein kind of the tagline is the players go mad and not the characters in the game. And really that's most of what I'm going to tell you guys, because there is a little bit of like spoiler-ness to this game, right? Like sitting down to play, like I played it first and then when I was showing them, I was like, you were asking me questions and I was like, I kind of don't want to answer that.
It definitely, like, your first play is like an experience in itself. That the things, when these things are flipping over, you're like, what? It does that now? Ah! How do we, I can't say that. So, like, we're not going to talk about it too much, but it's crazy. It's awesome.
So is there anything to say if we can't say anything about this game?
So before any of you guys get too deterred by it, yes, it is like a Lovecraftian mythos game, but it's definitely not a Cthulhu game. There's no Cthulhu. You don't see any of the old ones. Really, the only thing that makes it like Lovecraft or Cthulhu themed is the fact that there's like madness involved. And maybe like some of the actual lore, like the things you find in the game might, if you like read the books, tie in.
The like 1920s noir-esque feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't see any of the really weird words, the shub, you don't see any of those.
Yeah, if no one...
Well, when you go mad, you start to see them in your cards.
Oh, are they?
That's when you blur out things.
Okay.
Kind of.
Regardless, if you're not really paying super close attention and you haven't been told, like I wouldn't even know it was a Cthulhu game.
How about you take the dog sled? Like Tom was saying, this game, the tagline is you're making the players go insane, not the characters. So you're dealt these madness cards and you have these things that you can do or cannot do on your turn that kind of like really screw with the game. It would be actually a really easy game if you didn't have those madness cards. Like you're just like, okay, we need this resource, we need this resource. Oh, I can give you that, and I can supply this much. Okay, good, we got it. But having the madness and there's like, oh, you might not be able to say certain words, or you can't, maybe you have to touch somebody or something. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff. We're not going to try and spoil it too much, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about like, I almost kind of want to get specific on like just one card or something just to let you know. But, okay, what are you saying about not saying certain words? But also there's like movement involved and trigger words and
like,
a lot of things.
Not even like you can or cannot, but like the way you talk changes. So, and it's not even just the fact that you have to talk that way, but that so much of your mind is like diverted to like focusing on what you can and cannot say or what you have to say or have to do, that it then makes it harder where you can't see what you're looking for. So you take a look, that's all you get to see of it, and you're trying to remember, or there's people who are like throwing out wrong information. It's madness.
So regardless of the specificity of the cards, the fact that the cards alter the way you have to act while we are all trying to cooperate in this cooperative game really makes it stand apart from any other co-op game.
it's cooperative. You guys are trying to collect these relics by completing these missions, and the missions actually get harder and harder as you go up the mountain. So you gotta like between turns, you gotta work it out with each other and go, do we want to go further up the mountain, or do we want to stay at the level we're at and keep trying to collect these relics so that we can actually win the game? And there is a lot of cooperation, a lot of talking between each other, even between the 30-second timed rounds where you're like actually trying to get your stuff to the board.
I think you made an interesting point where it's you choose if you want to keep looking at the lower part or go up the mountain, because it's not just like this is a set track we're on.
Yeah.
It's like you pick your direction, so you can like fly up and then like, oh, we didn't get enough, fly back down again. But you have to be careful not to like fly yourself in a circle, because then you're just getting possible bad things. You're not getting any benefits.
And it really is, do we want to float around the coast more or jettison up the mountain? Because the difficulty does ramp up so fast, I want to say. Like, the difference between coast and mountains isn't that big a deal, but once we get up to City and Edge of Madness, we have to be done. Like, we're just going through. We can't go to this. There's 3 city tiles here. We can't go to the first one and say, well, let's look at the second one before we jump to the third one. No, they're so hard as we get up here that really we need to be like, okay, if we have one more relic we need to get or whatever in mountains, that's fine. But you float around so much, and you're right in that the game still does kind of have a bit of a timer on it. There's a certain number of times you're allowed to rest where you reshuffle, and that loses tokens. So there is a time on the game. And we do kind of argue between rounds, and it can get dicey. Like, there's no obvious thing to do. And I think it's a very well-designed game is one where we say, should we do this or should we do that? and it's really tough decision. When tough decisions come up a lot, it's a well-designed game, and this one is full of them.
I think the thing that messed with my head the most wasn't just the like crazy things that were happening, but it's the fact that you can't like between rounds when like they're not crazy things, you can't like talk about what you can and can't do. It's kind of a mystery. So I'm like trying to figure out what we're doing, but I'm also like, why is Aaron keep doing that? Why is this thing happening? And like I'm like, oh, maybe it's this, and we kind of talk about it in our group. I don't know if you're really supposed to, but the person cannot confirm or deny what it actually is. So that's just, it bothered me so much in the game where I'm like, why is Aaron doing this? Why does this happen? Or then like, he seems to be acting normal. What is going on right now?
And
It's
also,
just-
you in particular, you just couldn't handle
couldn't get past
not knowing
it.
stuff. You're like, so yeah, I mean, you can't talk about it, but like, come on, you have to raise your hand, right? That's like, it's like what you got to do, right? I mean, just like between you and me, that's what that card says, right? But furthermore, there's again that spoiler aspect to it. Some of those madnesses, because I've played the game more than you guys have, I recognized. I got one and I looked at it and said, oh, I got this one before. So that is, I love this game. You can tell probably from how much we're just gushing over this, that this game was really awesome, a really great experience. But the only negative I can kind of draw from it is that after more and more plays, some of the surprise and the whoa factor can die out. You know, I bet you if you have veterans of this game, if you play it with the same 5 people over and over and over again, you're going to get really good at it. But there is sort of
Expert mode.
an expert mode.
yeah.
Where you keep all your madnesses. As you level up your madness, you get harder and harder madnesses. You have 3 levels now, and that's insane.
So you have to do all of them at the same time.
Yeah.
So you have to scratch your face and run around the table and...
Tom.
spoilers!
That'd be one thing I'd kind of complain about this game too. Is like, I guess once you've learned all the madnesses, you could kind of gamer your way through this. Like, oh, I know exactly how to play this madness. Or if somebody's playing as this certain, they have this madness type. Like, when they do something, I know exactly what the information they're trying to portray.
Given that as a negative, that does also kind of mean the game grows with you a little bit, right? So there are different experiences, and maybe yearning for that first time, when you saw the spoilery things, and you're like, what? I didn't know. But then, moving on from there, you still have a different game, but still a good game. It's not like any sort of legacy game where now you can't replay it. I don't want you guys to get that impression from it, but I will say that your very first few plays will be whoa, and then your plays after that you'll be playing more of just a straight I think I know what I'm doing.
Or if you're playing with a brand new group, where like tonight you knew a lot of things that were happening and we didn't, I feel like you still shared in the experience of watching all of us be excited and new things happening.
That's
and
true.
people handle things differently.
Yeah, even because I knew some of the Madnai, it's plural of madness. I knew some of the Madnai, but the fact that you guys didn't, I couldn't explain it to you in that 30 seconds and try and coordinate us putting the cards down and stuff. So you're right. As long as we're rotating the core group a little bit, we'll still always have a little bit of the whoa wow factor. That's what I'm calling it.
Which does kind of lead into my other negative, is that this definitely is not a game for everyone. If you're super introverted and you don't like being super active and you just want a thinky game where you're kind of quiet, this really wouldn't be a great game for you because there is so much, we don't play this game sitting down. It's not a rule, but it's too active, it's too exciting, it's too intense. We stand up, we jump around, it's crazy. And even things there are some cards that make you touch people in certain ways. Or even just the way if you're someone who gets really embarrassed by doing crazy things, you probably will have a really awful time playing this game because there's tons of stuff where you get mad at people because their ability either makes them mess up or it makes them purposefully mess up. And then you're mad at them and you're angry and people are yelling back and forth. So again, if you're that introverted, shy person, I really don't think you'd enjoy this one.
So I will say this game needs to be played with max players to get that max enjoyment out of it. We played it with 5 players, we played it with 3 players. When you play with 3, there's so much less having to think of, this guy's this madness and this madness here. It's actually easier to cooperate with them. When you have 4 other players you're trying to cooperate with and get the cards that you guys need, it's way harder to communicate. And you still have the same amount of time. You still only have 30 seconds. And it's harder, which makes it more fun. So that's what I'm saying. Play with max players. It's going to be crazy. You guys are going to feel like you're losing more, but you're going to build it as a group better.
And going off that, with playing with max players, you have a higher probability that all the Madnai, are good and interesting. And it's counterintuitive because it's a co-op game and you want to win. You don't want ones that hinder you so much that it's really difficult for you guys to actually get the goal achieved. But you want it to be fun. right? You want to, like, if it's something that like never triggers an effect or something that is almost not noticeable, it's not as fun. So when you're playing with 3 players, there was like a time when I think it was only like one madness we really like noticed at the table. Almost dropped that.
Good catch.
But again, I was like, this isn't the same experience. So I guess what I'm saying with, yes, you should play with 5 players. It should just be a 5-player game. Like I think Cyclades is that way. I think a lot of games have a specific number that's just play with that many players. With this, play with 5, but also understand that your experience can be variable. Again, you're mitigating that luck by playing with 5 players, but you could still, all 5 of you get a madness and be like, this isn't that great.
Well, plus, I think that the point of a co-op game shouldn't just be to win. Like, it's about the experience. I actually prefer my co-op games to be like, lose 60% of the time, win 40% of the time, because I feel like the wins are that much more enjoyable. And I know some people like it flipped, win 60% of the time, which is fine, but you still need to have that chunk of time where you're going to lose. If you just win a co-op game every single time you play it, you don't feel challenged anymore. You don't have that fear. You need the fear.
The last thing I want to say is the component quality in this game is excellent. Like, you get these nice little tokens that are, these poker chips. You get this little plane that's really cool, and all the rest of the components are really good. Obviously, we sleeved it so that we keep it in excellent condition, but you didn't need to. And this die is pretty cool. It's nice and engraved and really loud when I drop it.
The game did come with a really nice insert that, since it doesn't hold sleeved cards, because all the cards fit like perfectly just under the player boards, and I have to sleeve this game. I sleeve pretty much every game, but because the cards are handhandled so much and shuffled kind of a lot, I felt the need to sleeve it. I threw it away, but it was a nice. It was nice.
If you don't sleeve,
if you don't sleeve, just stop. Just unsubscribe. we don't want you.
Don't listen to him. You should definitely subscribe. Resubscribe. Hit the little bell.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll all be like, oh, he came back.
So overall, this game kind of falls in the middle for me. Like, when I first heard about it, I was like, they were saying that it's a party game. You're gonna have a lot of fun playing it. But it's a party game that's like very thinky, and it's not really a party because you can only go up to 5 players, and that's a really sad party. But it's not really a party game. It is a game night game that you're going to kind of center your night around this and play this, and you guys are going to go mad together. You're going to have fun. I had fun playing it. It's just not a game that I think I need in my collection. I'm glad Tom has it. I'll play it with him.
I did not expect that from you. Spoilers! I really? Wow, all right.
So I felt like this was like an upper middle of the level game for me. I thought it was really fun. I love the experience. I don't want to play this game all the time. I feel like for me to say, this is just the best game ever, I'd want to like play it again and again and again. I think I want to play this game again. I want to like get it at the table more often. Not like next week though. I think like in a month or two, let's pull this one out. It's really fun. Let's do it. I wouldn't center necessarily a whole game night around it, maybe. Or maybe like if I was playing with like not as big gamers, I don't think it deserves like a big game night necessarily. That being said, it was definitely a great experience. I felt like, going up the coast, I was like, all right, this is fun. Mountains, I was like, okay, I'm getting into it. By the time we got to like the city and the edge of madness though up at the top, like my heart was pounding, I was jumping up and down. It was definitely a game where I think Allison Hayslip said it, that at the end of it, you're all like high-fiving and chest bumping, and it's like super awesome if you win. That being said, I don't want to play this like again tonight. But I'd play it again next week or in a couple weeks. So, solid game. I'm glad we have it in our group. I don't think we all need a copy of it, though.
I'll be honest. I'm a little surprised at their reaction. You more so. I'm saying this is probably the best thing to come out of Gen Con 2017. This is the best game we walked away with. I've had more fun with this than I've had in any game probably I've even played like this year. And I guess comparing apples to apples, a game similar to this, which it's hard to find a game similar to this, just considering another party type game. But I lost my mind. Really, some of the times we flip these tiles over or some of these cards, and I'm looking at them and the interactions, and you become friends. So the first time I played this game was at the Yellow Press event for Gen Con, and we played it with, you said, Allison Hayslip of the Half-Hour Happy Hour or whatever. We played with Theology of Games of a Board Game Corner. So these are all people who I've heard of, but I've never met before. But we became friends. One of the cards where it's making you touch people. I'm like, look, if we're not friends now, we're never gonna be. And I guess you are right in saying that I kind of don't really want to play it with you guys again. I guess I would want to play it again. Nothing against. But nothing against Aaron. rotating the people you play it with is good because even though I recognize some of the madness, if you are seeing it for the first time and you're like, what, that's a cool experience for me even to be like, yeah, I know, right? Crazy. I just really have to say, I really freaking I loved this game. I absolutely loved it. Like, we don't give numbers a lot, but 9.5, dare I say 10? Out of scale of 10, want to clarify. But look, if any of what we were talking about today sounds interesting to you, we're going to put a purchase link to this game in the description box down below.
And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never be bored. It's at least the best thing we brought home from Gen Con.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't bring home Twilight Imperium 4 or like a baby or... No babies. Not even one baby.
There were a lot there.
And we didn't get
Not a
any
single one.
Not Aaron, did you get a baby?
No, I did not.
Canadian baby?
I didn't get a baby. Did you get a baby? Aaron got a baby.